Okay, great.
Um,
So we're recording now. As we discussed before, we'll plan to make the recording public. If anything gets said that shouldn't be public, like somebody's name gets mentioned or something, then just let me know right away so I can stop the recording and then we can start a new one. But if we don't stop the recording, we'll plan to make it public. Sound good?
okay, but we're doing um, uh, uh, catch up, like the hello stuff,
Exactly,
information.
yes.
So if anybody's going to find that interesting, then that's fine. Otherwise, you
Perfect.
can you can edit that out and just start with the meaty stuff. When you're ready. So, where are you from on the West Coast of Florida?
Well, I'm in Fort Myers right now, but I
Okay.
but I grew up in South Florida in
Uh-huh.
in the Hollywood area.
Okay.
Where are you from?
Well, we're living in San Marcos, Texas at the moment.
And where did you
Uh,
grow up?
well, New York and then Miami. I went to Carl Park High School, Southwest Miami, and went to University of Florida after that, and then lived kind of all over as we traveled about in doing this work and doing artisan residencies. So we lived in Miami Beach back in the early '90s,
It was
and
a fun
then
time to be there.
yeah. um, after Hurricane Andrew destroyed the place we were living in, um,
Oh my
we went
goodness.
we went to Davie, and then after
Where
Davie,
where in Davie were you? I used to be on the Davie Cooper City Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors.
oh wow, we were 68th Street. No, where were we? Right off Griffin, whatever Griffin was, Lane or
Yeah,
Boulevard or
right. Griffin
Street.
and what, like University or Pine
Griffin
Island?
Road, Griffin and Davy Road Extension, basically right off there.
Okay,
Uh,
that's not too far. I went to school from Nova Elementary through Nova High School. So right down
huh.
the road from you there where you were.
Oh, that's a great school.
I was actually valedictorian back in 1987 of Nova High School.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. My
Um,
past my past history. But it was very cool, going to school with a lot of the same people from kindergarten up through graduation, all in that same, extended campus, basically. It's pretty wild.
Now, what year did you graduate? So I have a sense of when you might have been there in
It
in
it was it was
Nova.
87 that I graduated high school.
Okay, so you're a lot younger than me. And
I don't think a lot younger. When did you graduate?
72.
Oh wow, 15 years.
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't
y-
realize you were 15 years older. You're aging well.
yes. Uh,
You're
so
keeping your youthful aura.
well, when you work with children and do joyous work, it keeps me young. And yeah, I just turned 70 just a month ago.
Congratulations.
And thank you. I'm glad I made it.
Yeah.
With my health conditions, I had a stent put in my neck.
Oh
I had
wow.
a heart valve replacement
Oh wow.
with a cow valve. Um,
Wow.
and yeah,
So you're the
I'm
bionic man,
the bionic man.
the $6 million man.
Um, well, with health insurance, really I only had to pay a little bit. So I'm probably $1,000 man. That's
You remember the
uh,
program I'm talking about, right?
oh yeah, oh yes, and the Bionic Woman,
Yes.
and but
Yeah,
and
I
then
love
we
that.
then we moved around. We were in we lived in West Palm. We had bought a house for a short time in Hollywood, off 66th Avenue, um, and then we lived in Nashville a while. That's where I met Randy. Was in Nashville.
Nice.
We became good buddies. And then we lived in Eastern Kentucky, and back to Nashville, and back to South Florida with at Dania Beach, and then then we spent 2 years at the Peace and Justice Center in outside of Gainesville, in a place called Hampton, where I was running, the executive director.
Wow,
Uh,
that sounds cool.
and then I think back to Nashville. We Nashville was our stopping point for about over the last 30 years, about 15 years, 16 years, we would go there, and I still go there. And um, we've been bouncing around, but I would go down to Florida, for about 6 months a year, as I was doing not only the Earthman stuff, um, during the springtime, during Earth Day, when there was a lot of stuff for me to do. But I also was hosting and created all the children's concerts for the Palm Beach Pops. Um,
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Orchestra for about 14 years. I hosted that, and that was a whole program in and of itself, with about 6 weeks or 2 months worth of work, to go back. I love that. It was wonderful. um,
Sounds
and
amazing. Sounds amazing.
yeah, it was amazing before when 2008 came about and the economy got waylaid, all the grants stopped. I was grant funded. And then I pieced it back together, and then it never really came together again. In about 2014, the Palm Beach Pop Stop and um, any kind of grants I could get, for doing Earthman, faded away. So it was really tough for a lot of years, and I didn't know really where I was headed, and what. But here I am, and we made it through, thankfully. And although I didn't think at times we'd make it through, um, but we did.
I feel you, brother. I just had the most stressful, terrifying day of my life this past week
What
because
happened?
my my storage was up for auction, and I had to pay a $670 storage bill, to avoid the auction. Now, the
Mm,
thing is, and this is absolutely insane, like really, really insane. I've been through that cycle about 40 or 50 times over the last like 15 years. Like,
mm,
that's like, I can't even comprehend that I've actually lived through that many cycles and somehow had to have a miracle at the end and had a miracle every single time for all of that time. But never did it ever come down to the wire as much as it did this time, where I was literally within 30 minutes of the auction without having it paid yet
mm.
and still not sure, that I was going to be able to. And, I was just like, it was, yeah, I won't go back in all the feelings because it really, it
I know.
had me experience feelings that I can't remember ever having in my life. I've had stressful feeling, and it's always been a practice of, like being calm in the face of it and all of that. And I've done really, really well at that up until the day before. When it gets to the day before and like I'm scrambling, like then I have not in general been able to keep my cool, at least not this time, enough to be in an empowered place.
Mhm.
Got to more of like, oh my God kind of place, to the point where I went past the stress into meltdown, which I never had experienced before that I can remember, where I was literally, it just felt like I was like, melting under the weight of everything. Like there was nothing left of me to hold anything up at that point. And that was really, I mean, I'm glad I had the lesson of it, but that was really a tough lesson to have. And I hope I never have to repeat it again. It was certainly not around that. That's going to be handled now. But, just for anything, I hope I never have the meltdown feeling again. That was terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, we learned a lot of things um, when we melt down. I've had those moments too, and thankfully, I found a lot of comfort in my faith and my trust that all will be well, even if it doesn't look like it. And what I can't control, I can let go of it. You know, you know.
That was the thing, is like for the very first time I was facing, like when I was running to the bus to catch the bus because I was concerned about like the nightmare scenario where I got all of the money and I was trying to pay on the app and the app was
Mhm.
failing and I wasn't able to like pay it in time.
Yeah.
And so to make sure that that wasn't even a possibility, I was jumping on the bus to get to a local location because it's my storage is in South Florida, but I'm in Fort Myers.
Oh
But I was
man.
but I was going to the local public storage location here so I could pay there in person and know that it was getting paid in time, one way or another. So I was
Right.
getting on the bus to head there, just praying that I was going to get the money in my account along the way because I didn't have the money yet. So again, I was calling people from the bus stop as I was waiting for the bus. And that was literally while I was at the bus stop, I called the last two people that gave me the last $250 to get it
Oh
handled.
wow.
Yeah. And so then when I was on the bus on the way there, I was able to use the app. The app worked fine. So it got handled and all of that. But, again, it was this whole experience as I was running to the bus stop. I was thinking to myself, you know, as much as it's been the divine will for me to keep my stuff all of this time,
Yeah.
maybe the divine will is for me to lose it all. And I was kind of accepting that may be the way this was headed.
Hmm.
And so as I was gaining that acceptance or the possibility of it, I can't say I fully accepted it, but was recognizing that it might be then that the miracle finally came at the end there. Thank goodness.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you were able to do that, and it
Yeah.
worked out. Either way, it worked out
That
for.
that is true. That is true. So I feel you about, the sometimes not knowing, that it's going to work out. It's I've been there. I've been there recently.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have a family at all? Do you have kids or partner?
no, I don't have any children. I was married back uh, from 98 to 2001.
Okay.
Um, but got divorced, did not have children, have not
Mhm.
remarried, have not had children. So yeah, so it's just me in terms of, me. I have my mom and two brothers.
Mhm.
One brother that I share from my mom's first marriage, and then another brother from my mom's second marriage.
Hmm.
He uh, Ari is our young. He has autism, and he's in a group home in Broward County.
Hmm.
Uh, and he's a great, like, happy guy. One of those guys that's always, like, full of love, and doesn't know all of the things in our world that we deal with, like, discrimination and teaching people
Right.
different things and all of that. It's really amazing to see the world through his eyes, right?
Nice.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So that's my family, and
Where's your mom?
my mom had been in Pembroke Pines for the
Uh-huh.
last 37 years, and
We're at
just,
Pembroke Pines because my mom lived there as well until she passed.
oh,
Uh,
is that right?
yeah.
Well, first of all, my parents and I moved into Pasadena Lakes, if you know where
Okay.
Pasadena Lakes is.
Yes, I
We
do.
moved into Pasadena Lakes when they built it in 1971. We were like
Wow.
we were the original owners when they built Pasadena Lakes in 71. And we lived there until 87. And then my mom moved to Westview, which is near Palm and Johnson.
Hmm.
And so she lived there until just like 3 months ago. And then she just moved to Tamarack. She's in Tamarack now.
Okay. My mom was in Park Place in Pembroke Lakes. Um,
Nice.
yeah, until she passed away only a few years ago. She was 97 when she
Oh,
passed
wow.
away.
Amazing.
So and
That
really not in her body. She refused. She was a tough Jewish woman, smart, and she didn't want to leave her place so we had round the clock helpers. She had them, and um, so that was it. I got one brother, older brother, an older sister, and a younger sister, and we're all in around this. He's 76, 73. I'm 70 and 66. And they're all good people. I mean, they're all um, just really loving. We're a close family.
nice.
Insane but close.
That's nice. So when you mentioned New York as a growing up place, were you in the city or where were you?
No, well, Long Island, East Meadow, Nassau County. Back in 1954, we moved out there, which was close to Levittown at the time. Um, uh, and so my dad worked in the city. He had a business in there,
Nice.
and then we moved to Miami in '64, along with the rest of the Jewish population. Um,
Nice.
uh, and yeah, we lived in Westchester. And then my dad passed when I was 13, a
Mhm.
month after my bar mitzvah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he
That
was
must have
sick.
been really tough.
Yeah, he was sick the whole time. He had cancer all the time. But
Mm,
um, so I grew up at a time where it would have been good to have a dad in my teenage years. But it is what it is. And it's all perfect in its own strange way. The experiences made me who I was and who I am. And, you
exactly.
know,
The
you
perfect
know,
you.
yeah, the perfect me. So, and the perfect you. Um, so, yeah, so, I've been married going on 40 years.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you, to the same woman. We have two kids, um,
Nice.
and they're all grown up. And yeah, it's been a wild journey, and now my wife has always been supportive of me doing this work.
That's
Even
wonderful.
even when we had a nickel in the bank, she said, "This is what you're meant to do. You
Wow.
know, figure it out." So one of the things I worked for, where I learned to write grants, was I worked for PACE, PACE, Performing Arts for Community and Education. I don't know if you remember that. And I eventually became the executive director
Nice.
for a while, but I needed to leave it because I wanted to write grants for myself, and you know
Makes sense.
yeah, and so I my first corporate sponsor was AT&T back in 92, 93, when I first figured out Earthman and got that going. And I remember Barry Johnson, who went on to become the head of the Chamber of Commerce from Miami. Um, I went in to see him, and he says, "Well, what does Earthman do?" So I did about 10 minutes of Earthman, singing and the whole 9 yards. And I walked out with $15,000 in grants and support. They did a lot of support, um, and that was great. And then Durham, the Department of Environmental Resource Management, uh, and the Miami-Dade Cultural Affairs Department um, funded. I had probably over $1 million in grants over the 10 years, which was beautiful. I mean, I got to produce the music. I mean, create the music. And I have a team of musicians like Randy and my co-producer Claudio Spivak, and that are just really good people. And we produced when I had to lose the band. I had a 9-piece band, the Planet Earth Project band, and we were doing we did Cayocho, we did lots of things. And when the grants ran out, I had to um, lose the band because I was paying. It cost $2,500 a concert at least, to pay the band, because I always made sure I wanted to pay the band. These were all really talented guys and girls. And uh, uh, so Claudio and I, and the group, but Claudio and I basically worked on creating tracks to everything. So I could go out and teach without needing the band. I just do it myself with background vocals, and we edited it so we had different track. I mean, the same song with different tracks, with guitar, without guitar, with harmonica, without harmonica, with we did all this stuff so that it's funny. Love Is Around, I think we really did like in 1997 or 98. Um, and my friend Ken Gustafson, I asked if he had any track. He was a great keyboard player, and I asked if he had any tracks or anything I could write the lyric to. And I fell in love with this track. I mean, this thing, it was only him playing the keyboard. And I wrote Love Is Around, which has been edited 17 times, depending on what I need it for, because I really love the song and I love the message of the song. But then then I uh, was able to go out and teach, do concerts, especially in the schools, without needing to have. I love to have the band. I love the energy, but I didn't need it anymore. Sometimes I would travel with just the vocal team, and so it was really good. And then one of the things I'm proud about is I had a song go up in the space shuttle.
I read about that.
And did you see this song in English? Did you listen to
I don't think I listened to the music, but
okay.
I read the clip about it.
Um, uh, in 1985, um, Judy Resnick, who was actually married to my co-writer, was it Judy Resnick? I can't think of her name. But she was going up in the space shuttle. And so we went,
Krista McAuliffe.
Christian McCullough was the second one. And
Oh, okay.
I not look, I went to her house. She asked me to bring her the cassette of the song, which she knew about.
You're talking about
And
Krista or
yeah,
the previous one?
Krista, back in December of '85, and of course she was killed in the space shuttle Challenger. So I have really no idea, although she said it was the perfect song to teach the kids in the lesson she was about to teach everybody, because it was a journey through the eyes of a woman astronaut as she circles the planet, and describes how beautiful and peaceful the planet works. But she wonders if we're going to win or lose it all, which we are still wondering today, even more so. And she calls out to the people of the earth, and she says, "Come in, planet Earth, are you listening? The world is just an island in the sky. And if we can fly among the stars, we can find the truth within our hearts that love's the only way we can survive." And we um, we started this. A bunch of us started this project, which was the original Planet Earth project, which was a not-for-profit organization before I changed it to the Earthman project. But we translated and recorded it, working with translators. I work with translators, and then in the studio, the artist, who's a wonderful woman, Karen Taylor Good, she uh, has a knack with language, singing in languages, and so she worked by listening to the translator, and we have recorded the song in English, French, German, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, and Russian.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. And
Yeah.
I discovered that the State Department just started this new program with the head of YouTube, who used to be in the head of Def Jam Records or something. And in order to create music to reach out to the world. So I'm about to send them this. I sent them the other piece, but it's American. It's about our divide, and I don't know whether it's the State Department, so they use foreign stuff. But I'm going to send them. I edited it down to a 1 minute piece. That's just the chorus, and I'm going to send them in all the languages and see what they think, because I really love to be involved with them, um, and especially with the guy who's heading it up, uh, who's this guy from YouTube, which would be, you know, great, if we are able to connect that. But that was, I've re-edited it many times, and I mean,
Are you
and
sending them just the audio, or are you creating
no,
some
no,
visuals?
I'm going to send them the visual with the suggestion that if we could get IMAX footage on top of it, if it can be coordinated through there, then we can have the latest digital footage, uh, same story, but do it with the IMAX footage, and so it would be stunning. And what I did is I changed the images, um, uh, in most of them, to cover the land where the country was located. So if it's the Russian version, it would start out, well, the main song, you know, she would sing, looking down, I can almost see Dad's farmhouse, and I can feel his proud eyes looking up at me. So looking down, you'd see Russia or Spain or, you know, the North America. So I do editing. So um,
Nice.
uh,
That's cool.
yeah, it
You're
really.
kind of reminding me of the what they call it, Circle Rama 360 at Disney, where you're flying through the different countries, flying through the different countries with Lanny and his music.
You know, do you play any music? Are you a musician at all?
I've never, I shouldn't say I never. I did play the trumpet in elementary school, but no, I never pursued music as one of my, outlets.
So
I've often thought about what it would have been like if I
yeah.
had or when I do, but I
So
just
it's yeah. So you're in you studied um, um, uh, engineering for aerospace, right?
yes, yes, thank you for remembering. Yeah, aerospace engineering at the University of Colorado in Boulder, and I focused on the space side. For my degree, you could either focus on airplanes or on spaceships, and I focused on spaceships and
Wow.
satellites and stuff like that.
Did you work in
So
that field for many
I
years?
never did. I never worked in the field actually. It was really interesting how near the end, the what happened, I'll just give you the quick version since we're really sharing with each other so you get, me and my journey, is that one quick drink. So, I was a brainiac as a kid, besides being the valedictorian, I got the highest SAT score in our school. I
Wow.
got I got a 1400. I got a 780 on the math, so I missed one question on the math. I don't I can't believe it. I don't know which one I missed. But anyways, I got, and I had like all the AP courses for many years. And I got fives on a lot of the tests and fours on a lot of the tests, which I don't know if you remember, or actually you might not have had it in high school. You didn't have advanced placement, did you? It came after
No.
you,
Well,
right?
maybe, but I wasn't that smart.
Got it. Yeah. So, having those scores on those advanced placement tests actually credited college courses for me. So
Mm.
they gave me credit for like introductory courses and allowed me to skip into the second course or the third course. And that I thought was awesome until I was in the third course of physics as my first course at college, whereas the other students in the course had been through 2 semesters of college physics. And I'm just like overwhelmed, like lost, like trying to deal. That class specifically was electricity and general relativity, and they had
Mhm.
already skipped like mechanics and like all of the traditional physics stuff. That is what I, opted out. anyway, it was tough on that, and also on calculus. Going into an advanced level of
Oh
calculus
God.
without having, it was tough. So in the beginning of school, I was just getting battered. I was just trying to survive these prerequisites, to
Right.
get. Plus, there were so many other prerequisites that I had no interest in, like structures and material science and fluid dynamics, and again, just on and on, all of these like engineering stuff that like you have to take in order to get to the spaceships. But like I just want to work on the spaceships, right? So, anyways, long story short, just having to just like put my head down and bear it through a couple years of classes just kind of
Hmm.
got me in this mode of just like bearing whatever I had to do to get through classes rather than really embracing them and enjoying them. And at the same time, I found my fraternity in college. I joined AE Pi at the University of Colorado.
Hmm.
So, AE Pi, it's a Jewish fraternity, and I was
Yeah,
with all my.
my brother was heavily involved in AEPI in Gainesville, where he went to school. So he used to be on their board or of something, nationally. But
That's awesome. Yeah, so I was smoking pot every day and having fun with my fraternity brothers, and partying every weekend and all of that, and just doing what I needed to do to get by in my
yeah,
classes, basically, that I wasn't really enjoying at the time. And then as I'm getting near the end of my degree, and I'm finally getting like the cool classes like space habitation and space system design and that sort of thing. I just wasn't like, my eyes were already glazed over at that point. You know what I mean? Like I had lost like the verve for it. And also I wasn't like, I wasn't feeling like I was going to have a fulfilled life sitting in a cubicle working on one little instrument in a satellite that was going to, or an exploring spacecraft that was going to take 7 years to get to Saturn. And then, by the way, you may remember back around that time, there was literally something that took 7 years to get to Saturn, in addition to all the development beforehand, then failed when it got there, right? And that was also just a couple of years after the Challenger failure, and there were other like big failures that were happening at the time. And I was like, I cannot imagine sitting in a cubicle, devoting my life for a year to something that could fail, based entirely on somebody else's work or something else. It's like I just couldn't imagine that life, and I wasn't really seeing a future for myself. And then I took a couple of psychology courses, and I really enjoyed my psychology classes. And I was like, damn, if it wasn't my junior year, I would have switched to psychology, but I was already too far into aerospace engineering at the time. And I took a couple of creative writing courses, and I enjoyed that. And, all of that, really not just being enthused about, engineering and the timing, just to take you back in history. I was graduating college in 91. So I went into college in 87 when Reagan was president. So I went
right,
I went in when the whole Star Wars, remember how Reagan outspent Russia with
right.
Star Wars to be able to bring down the Iron Curtain, right?
Hmm.
Like that was the strategy. Like the defense, um, the aerospace industry was the beneficiary of that
Right.
entire race against Russia, right? So when I was going into college, it was like the whole, aerospace industry is blowing up. We're going to have hotels in space in 3 years and this and that, the privatization, like everything. And then by the end, when I came out in 91, that was the George Bush years, which is when that whole defense got cut back because the
Right.
wall came down and they didn't need to keep throwing all that money into aerospace. And they never had to actually develop Star Wars shooting the missiles down out of space because just the threat of it had done the job of bringing the Iron Curtain down, right?
Right.
So I'm graduating not enthused about being an aerospace engineer, landing in a job market that laid off 100,000 aerospace engineering jobs in California that year alone, the year that I was graduating, right? So I was just like, I'm not, it's like that's not where I'm going. So along, so that's kind of the extended version. But then what I ended up doing is I was like, so I'm not going to be an aerospace engineer. What am I going to do? I don't really know. Where am I going to live? And I decided the Pacific Northwest was calling me. So I decided to just move to Seattle with the possibility, well, Boeing is there if I had to fall back. Microsoft
Hmm.
is there up and coming right around that time. Um, that was back in like the early Windows days, right? The Windows 3.1, like years
Right.
before Windows 95, right? It was like essentially around the time it was moving from DOS to Windows, right? It was very, very early in the Microsoft days. And I was thinking, maybe I'll be a technical writer. I don't know. So again, long story short, I just picked up 3 jobs when I went to Seattle just to start making money. One was delivering newspapers one night a week. Another was making balloon animals on the
Hmm.
weekend at restaurants for kids. And then the third job was raising money for the Zoological Society for their brand new rainforest exhibit that they just built at the zoo. And
Hmm.
I had been a star telemarketer for the Police Athletic League and the Police Benevolent Association when I was in high school, the summers before and after my senior year. And through my senior year, I was the top performer in our office to raise money for the Police Athletic League and the Police Benevolent
Hmm.
Association. So in Seattle, I ended up being the top performer for the Zoological Society right away. And they started giving me all of their top donors, and I started asking people for $10,000 commitments and getting them like regularly. Yeah. So I ended up, we had a whole like office full of like 25 telemarketers over 3 months that were calling for the zoo. And the whole
Wow.
office raised $500,000 over the three
Wow.
months. And I personally raised half of that. I raised
Wow.
Yeah, I raised $250,000 for the zoo in 3 months
Wow.
there. And so it gave me the ability to have some conversations with them. I was like, hey, I have a degree in aerospace engineering. I can do a whole lot more than make phone calls for you. And I wrote a 20-page proposal. I met with the executive director. He's like, I don't know what we can do with you. I want to do something with you. I don't know what we can do with you. Our membership director is retiring and we're trying to sort everything out. So I was like, hey, I just spoke to all of your members and I know what they want and I can relate to them. I was like, I can be your membership director. And I wrote a 20-page proposal about how I could be their membership director. And he's like, okay, you're it. And I became the membership director of the zoo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was incredible because it was like that was the second biggest membership organization in Seattle at the time. We had 35,000 member families. My
Wow.
my budget was over $1 million. It was a big deal to be the
Yeah.
membership director of the zoo. Like I went to shortly after I was became the membership director, I went to like a networking event for the membership directors of all the top organizations in Seattle at the time. And I'm sitting there at this table, like 10 or 15 other like women and men that were membership directors. And they all had to like work for years up the ladder to become membership director of their organization. And my organization was a bigger organization. Like this would have been a promotion for them. And I just came out of nowhere to land this job. And they're all like looking at me with a side eye. It was just like, it was really wild to be in that position,
Well, when
in
you
that.
were when you were membership directing, did you meet Bill Gates, or was he on your list?
I didn't meet Bill. He wasn't on my personal call list. I don't know.
Okay.
We had, in addition to the membership program, there was the development program, which was the donor program. So
Wow.
we had a director of development and her whole department and all of that.
Got
So
it.
she would handle people like that. She gave me a couple of people that were like normally not distributed to telemarketers, but
Uh-huh.
that they like were had a little bit of a rocky time with and they weren't sure like how to smooth things over with people. One it was the family that owned like a nationwide moving company. Okay. And so they actually gave me, their lead, and they asked me to call them and ask them for $10,000. And so I ended up, and again, this is where like there'd been a little bit of, they weren't sure how the family was feeling about the zoo at the moment and that sort of thing. And they were hoping that I could, maybe smooth things over a little bit. So I ended up calling them and, asking for the $10,000. And they said, can we, um, They said, can we do that over 2 years? You got me? They said, can we do that over 2 years? I said, actually, with this matching grant, you have up to 3 years. So if you're willing to do, 2 years for $10,000, $5,000 a year, can you please, do that for 3 years so we can apply the entire $15,000 to the matching grant? And they said, yeah, we'll do that. So I ended up coming back and I sent it in with 15,000, even though, they had asked me to ask for 10. And they're like,
Right.
is this for real? Did you really get $15,000 from them? And I was like, yeah, it's for real. And I explained to them and they were just like, they couldn't even believe that, I was asking for 10 and I had got 15,000 from this, family. They weren't
Wow.
sure how I was going to even react. So I was like such a superstar for them. But yeah, it was fun. It was really, what I loved about that job the most, which was so incredible, is that I essentially had a key to the zoo. I could act, I'm serious. I actually was able to walk around the zoo before it opened and after it closed when I went to
Wow.
work each day. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really so cool to be able to just like
Did you
be with all the animals. I got to
uh,
see like the sun bears teaching their children like how to roll down the hill and how to climb back up the hill. I saw the gorillas like mating for the first time. That they brought in one of the gorillas to mate with one of the other ones, and I witnessed when it was happening for the first time as the docent
wow.
was recording it, as the volunteer was recording it. So yeah, it was just like so special to like be in the lives of these animals by seeing them every day.
Did
That was really
did
wild.
they recognize you?
I don't recall them recognizing me at all. No,
Okay.
they seemed, yeah, most of them were pretty oblivious to me, but yeah, it was a privilege to be in that experience.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, what an experience, and
It,
to
you
be
know,
able
it
to do
really helped
that.
set me up for this like diverse life of really tuning into like
This is
there's
a
more than
reminder.
engineering. I went this
Take my
whole
notes.
nonprofit side. And then just, I won't go in as much depth, but I'll just bring you up to current, is that after I left the zoo really unexpectedly because the when the executive director brought me in, he let me know, hey, we're about to go through a reorganization in the coming months, and we're going to be losing a lot of the staff, but I'm bringing you in as one of the new people. And then 8 months later, that my executive director was on the way out and me along with him, basically.
Mm.
So, it really, it was like the rug was pulled out from underneath me in that moment. And it took me
Mhm.
a little while to kind of gain my footing and figure out where I was going to go. But I kind of tuned into technology. It was actually virtual reality that I was looking at for a while. But
Mhm.
then a friend of mine connected me with a computer training company where I was able to, I came on with that company and I was training people on like Windows and Word and Excel and stuff like that. And like 1 day training courses, you recall, were kind of the
Mhm.
fad back then. And so I was training people, I was writing courses, I was doing sales. I eventually transferred to the Las Vegas office and was managing that office. And I lived in Las Vegas for 3 years. And then back
Wow.
in 98 is when I moved back to South Florida. And that's when I started my computer consulting business, A to Z. But then within a year, I decided I wanted to focus on website design because it was up and coming and it allowed me
Right.
to add my creativity and all of that. And I focus mostly on nonprofit clients and membership business organizations because I really wanted to support them. And
Mhm.
then over the years, um, around, it was about 10 years ago. Well, I'll just share this part very briefly so you get my history and then I'll be complete with my history. So you've got my whole foundation. I had a life altering moment on September 11th in 2001 when I was happened to be watching television. Let me take a quick drink. I was watching television. I was watching the towers burn, and then I was watching the towers fall alive. And, I was thinking to myself then and also after then, you know, how much of the lives of those, the hijackers, how much of their lives they had devoted to that, between all of the training and all of the planning and just the everything, like years of their lives were devoted to
Yeah.
committing that act, right? And I'm like, where are the champions of light that are the equal and opposite to that on our planet? You know, where are the people that are devoting their lives so fervently to protecting life on this planet? And that's when I basically was radicalized by that event, but radicalized as a force for good and for
Mhm.
life. And I've been devoted very radically since then. And it's looked like, sacrificing everything down to my finances, but it's been way more than my finances. I've been, excuse me, for since 2016, basically, I've been living the life of a monk for the most part, where I have not been going to any events, parties, any events out in the world. I have hardly been on social media that whole time because I've been like tunnel vision trying to figure out how to make this whole world work in a way that we can actually get to sustainability and to do it like fast, like with real urgency. Because as all the plastics are just accumulating more and more and more. They're only going to turn into more nanoplastics, as it goes. There's only more and more and more, forever chemicals, spewing into our environment, all the fracking, there's all the everything, that's just like accumulating more and more and more. It's just like, how much do we think we can keep putting into the system and still survive it ourselves, right? I mean, we're seeing the whales and many other, species with their digestive tracts being filled, with these plastics. We're literally, suffocating and choking a lot of life on this planet with our waste as it is. It's like, how can we keep tolerating heading down this path? It's like, how much longer do we think we have to keep doing this mindlessly without, everything just dying? And already, the ecosystem's disappearing. I mean, you were talking about, in your presentation, the whole, ice melt and how it's a positive feedback cycle. With the more ice that melts, the more, less reflective it is, and the more that it's going to melt, and all, that whole. So anyways, I feel the urgency, not only to protect my life, but to protect all life, and like I shared with you, I had that Gandhi moment, and I've had many more moments in my life where I've gone beyond the Jared, body, and connected with, the reflection of life that I am as a bigger expression than just this individual life and body of Jared. I know myself as one of the, facets of life that exists, and as one of the facets that has the capability to protect other facets of myself. I feel a real need and urgency to do so, and to find the other people that get that and are operating at that level of consciousness, so that we can work together collectively, embodying the collective consciousness and leveraging the power of the collective to perform at a really high level. And that's really what it all comes down to for me. Is I've been really doing everything I can, busting ass, to build systems as quickly as I can to facilitate us acting as a collective to save life on this planet as quickly as possible.
That's um, powerful and beautiful. And thank you. You're, how did they say it in Yiddish? You're a mensch. And so
I
am I.
appreciate I appreciate I know you are, brother. I know you are. We are cut from the same cloth, and we're on the same mission from our different angles. And that's why, I resonate with you so much and we're connecting. And that's where, thank you, Randy, for connecting us. This is where each of us that is holding this energy now comes together within a system where we're declaring that we're holding this energy together. And I didn't mention it yesterday. You probably didn't get a chance to watch any of the videos on the website yet or anything, did you?
No, I didn't.
No worries. Don't worry about it. I didn't think you would. The foundation that I've come to realize over this time that I've been building these systems, there's one rule that we all have to adhere to in order for the systems to work. And that is that we have to agree to live by the golden rule, to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. And if we agree to that, then the systems work because we're always working to have a fair exchange of value with the other. We're not trying to get more value at the expense of the person on the other side, because we want for them as much as we want for us. And we know that we want to treat them fairly so that we can expect to be treated fairly as well. And so the system literally has us pledge to agree to that in order to be a part of this collective system within the Uniting for Action system. I'm sure at some point in the future, we'll have space for people who aren't ready to agree to that yet. And people who are not ready to agree to that yet can sign up for the email newsletter and they can read about it, learn about it, and they can see it, and they can kind of, they can interact with the collective global brain that we're creating, and they can access it, visually. They just can't post as a poster in the system. They can't use the system to, create a positive feedback loop. They have to agree to that. As soon as they agree to that, you're welcome. The keys to the kingdom, you're in. Now we're all doing this together, right? And as we all do it together, it gives us all the ability, and it's completely open source system. So we're inviting everybody to show up in their place to offer what they can. And then as we all do, and as our collective grows, we have access to all the resources that exist on the planet, right? And that's basically it, is that like right now, we have access to everything if we can open ourselves up enough to it. Do you get what I mean by that? Like if we can pull all of the obstacles out of the way, if we can empower ourselves enough to see ourselves as in whatever role we want, accomplishing whatever we want, thinking we're rich, basically, the foundation of that, the teachings of Abraham, right? The law of attraction, however you want to define it, it's to be able to embody our fullest divine potential by declaring, with our mouth what we want to create, and then, organizing the resources of the world to accomplish that.
You speaking of Abraham the Spirit,
Esther Hicks,
yes,
who channels the teachings of Abraham.
Yes. Are you familiar with the resource-based economy?
I've heard the terminology, and I think I've read something about it, but can you refresh my mind about what that looks like?
It's where everybody shares. There's no monetary system. It's just based on resources, and everybody has what they need.
Yeah.
To go forward. I'm just trying to think of the name of the guy who created it, who's passed now. He's in Florida, actually.
Oh, are you talking about Jacques Fresco?
Jacques Fresco, yes.
The Venus Project?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. I met Jacques at once, actually. I actually went to the Venus Project and got a tour of the place by Jacques, which was amazing. That was a really amazing experience. Yes.
We're definitely on similar thought patterns.
Yeah, the last part I want to be a little more clear and specific about, so you understand mechanically how the system is working. We'll kind of wrap up soon for today, because I think we've covered a lot, and I'm going to set us up for our next meeting in terms of the information I want to get from you and how we're going to drill down into
Okay.
what your objectives are and what you want to accomplish and all of that.
Okay.
So I'm good, and I'm going to have you watch some of the videos too, so you can get some
Yes.
of the more specifics about everything.
Now,
Um,
was your website, because you're something I saw where it says it's not working at the moment. Um,
exactly,
the was
exactly.
that the website or your Gmail or
No, it's the website and the email actually. I
okay.
didn't I didn't realize that my renewal for the website was yesterday, and so I have to pay $15 to renew it, and I don't have the $15 yet. So
Well,
I have
can I
to
donate? Can I donate to you the $15?
you absolutely can donate the $15, Lenny. Thank you so much for even
Okay.
considering that. That's
I,
really
I,
beautiful.
give me a phone number. I'll seal the money to you. What,
Yeah, the Zelle actually goes by my email address rather than my phone number. So it's Jared, Jared,
yeah,
at unitingforaction.com.
Uniting. My hand doesn't work really
You know what?
well.
I'm gonna text it to you so that we don't
Okay.
make a misspelling mistake. That way you can just copy and paste it. That'll be better.
Okay, that'll be great.
Yeah,
Um,
I really appreciate that. Thank you for even considering that.
oh
And
yeah.
and so what it's going to allow you to do once the site is back up and you can go and see it, then you're going the home page has all of these playlists of different videos in different ways. And I'm going to give you just an overview in the right now so you can kind of get a sense of what's there. And
Hmm.
then even take you through a tour once the site is back up.
Okay.
The I there's a 30,000 foot overview of like what Uniting for Action is in terms of a system that allows us to transition our entire society from where we're at to sustainability. Okay. Like step by step by step. I've broken it down to 9 steps. Okay. And I'll read the 9 steps to you right now, just so you
Hmm.
can get a sense of what they are. So it's a little bit more concrete for you than just saying, hey, I've got 9 steps to get us there. Let me hold on 1 second while I pull it up. Okay. So the first step is to leverage the power of the collective.
Hmm.
Okay. And we've already talked about that a little bit. And then you're going to see even more in the videos where I'm doing that both around thoughts and around commerce and around actions. So those are the 3 areas that I've created the systems to allow us to leverage the power of the collective in those 3 areas: thoughts, commerce, and actions. Okay. And then in order to leverage the power of the collective, we have to find each other, right? And like that sounds like so straightforward, but if you think about it, you can think about any issue right now, like any issue around the earth, right? You've got a lot of issues that you care about around earth. Like, where is the one place that you can go and find all the other people that care about that same thing, right? Like, there's not a place. Like, how is that possible? How is that not possible that there's not one website where you can find all the people that care about the same thing about everything? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That you can change the channel to any channel. Now I'm on the plastics channel. Now I'm on the plastics in the ocean channel, right?
Hmm.
Now I'm on the plastic bags in the ocean channel, right? Like to drill down to be able to find the people that care about the exact same thing that you do so that you can combine your resources with them and take collective actions with them, right? So again, this you're getting the mechanics of the systems that I'm building, because this is how we can actually take collective action. We first have to find each other, then we have to pool our resources, then we have to take coordinated collective strategic actions together,
Right.
right? I mean, it's very, very logical, right? Like what I'm describing is not rocket science. It's like fundamentally how you address any challenge that you have, right? And I gave my mom an analogy the other night that she really hit home for her. So I'll just share it with you because I think it makes sense to a lot of people. Is right now, our nonprofit world is set up, as you know, where most nonprofits are having to compete against the nonprofit to the right and against the one to the left for donor dollars and media attention and
Yeah.
sponsor support, right? I mean, you've lived in that world long enough to know about the competitions for the grants and the competition for everything. And it's like, it's not conducive at the heart of its DNA for collaboration and coordination, right? It's modeled after our capitalistic, profit-driven society where you compete to get ahead and squash the other guys or acquire them or whatever. It all is just nonprofits acting as profits. In terms of the ways, not yours, right? But I'm saying that in general, that's what's happening out in the world. And in that space, what ends up happening is you have 100 nonprofits that are doing everything they can to build, 100-story building, but each of those 100 organizations only are collecting enough resources, only carving out enough of the pie to build a one-story building. So you've got 100 organizations building 100 one-story buildings, 100 one-story buildings, instead of them joining forces and acting collectively to build a 100-story building, right? Like, it's only possible to build a 100-story building when we all come together and work together, right? And we have to for the size of the issues that we're facing, for climate and for plastics and for, forever chemicals and all of these things. We can't just all be doing our own thing. It gets us exactly what we've got, which is essentially no progress to speak of, certainly not at a rate, anywhere near reasonable to stop this thing before, we're witnessing the train wreck in our own lifetime, let alone our children's lifetime, right? And so again, in this space, the incentive gets created for collective actions because those of us that are coming together collectively are able to build that 100-story building together, while everyone that's on the outside is still operating in that like competitive type of environment, right? So those that are choosing, yes, I choose to live by the golden rule, I choose to be a part of a collective, creating a collective effort, we just naturally start to outperform, those not acting as a collective, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious that will be the case, in any collective against, a bunch of individuals acting as individuals. So essentially, it's going to, snowball, right? As we start creating results and demonstrate to those around us that we're creating results, more and more people will say, hey, maybe this, golden rule thing isn't so bad. The fact that it's also, a commandment really helps, love thy neighbor as thyself, so this is the way that we're using the systems, as we talked about yesterday, to help embed a collective consciousness, to allow us to act as a collective consciousness, because it's both in our self-interest and it's actually helping the collective.
Absolutely. There's my song "Love Is Around," the longer version of it. There's a line in the song which is now edited out, but I have a version of it that I use. But it says, let's see, if you live by the golden rule, we'll be all right. We can make this world all right.
That's so great. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to incorporating, your music as much as you want into what we're doing. We're going to talk about that next time for sure.
So what's number 3?
What's that?
What's number 3 on the?
Yeah, I was just going to say I'm going to buzz through the rest of these so we can wrap up now. So number 3 is to systematize everything. Okay. Number 4 is to practice intentional evolution.
Mhm.
Number 5 is to align resources with values, as I was saying. Number 6 is to follow the golden rule. Number
Mhm.
7 is to cultivate empowerment. Number 8 is to optimally leverage our resources. And number 9 is to take collective actions. Okay. So each of those philosophies have mechanics I've built to in order to have them work
Wow.
and have them be a part of the whole systematic way that we're addressing everything. So, those are the fundamental principles that it's all built on. And then what I've done is I've created a first draft system that incorporates all of those principles. And now with the first draft, I'm inviting the rest of the world to show up and start refining the draft by adding their part and everybody taking up their part and all building this collective vision together, right?
Mhm.
I've got us off to a flying start, as you'll see, with these systems and these concepts in the working prototype. And now it's, all kinds of different entities showing up and doing their part. Everybody and this is the thing, all of the Googles and Microsofts and Apples and everybody, that can really add power, to what we're creating here, they're all invited to join the effort as long as they agree to live by the golden rule. And this is where, again, we start to help society evolve, because in the beginning, they may be some big corporations may be able to feel like they can sit outside of all of this that's going on and they'll be okay for some period of time. But at some period of time, they will be on the outside looking in. And also the people that have chosen the golden rule and chosen to be the part of the collective will also have the opportunity to have long memories about who came in kicking and screaming rather than who led society in this way. You get what I mean?
Mhm.
That this is the opportunity for every corporation, for every entity to recognize that we want as a society to go in the direction of collectivism and to make the bold move to lead us towards collectivism. You see that?
Mhm.
And the thing is they don't have to get behind any particular idea. They can just sponsor the system. They don't have to sponsor, women's rights or civil rights or, environmental rights or anything that they feel like they're going to lose half of their consumer base for. They can just focus, they can just throw their support behind a system that allows us all to collect with the people that care about the same things that we do and allow us
Right.
to create results together.
Right.
And
Right.
so as we're choosing the winners corporately, the last part of it is taking these collective actions at scale, millions of us at a time, that we're making the markets. We're choosing, which shampoo is the most environmentally friendly, and the others have to
Mhm.
follow suit, and which petroleum company is the one that's moving fast enough away from petroleum that they get our support. It's all of that. Which bank is the favorite bank amongst the collective because of the progressive ways that they are aligning their business model with sustainability. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
As we are big enough purchasing block, a big enough buying block over and over and over again, then Wall Street wants to get behind us because they know that we're picking the winners. And whichever
Right.
winners we pick are going to be the most profitable companies. So they start to align behind the collective and now are making the full movement of society to a Wall Street backed sustainability movement.
So
You see that?
you're at the beginning. I mean, you've got the design happening now. You're in the the reaching out phase,
Exactly.
the beginning.
I have a working prototype that's going to allow us to do some of this early functionality that I'm going to show you in our next meeting.
Okay.
And it's going to allow you to break. What we're going to do in the next meeting is we're going to break down your objectives into
Mhm.
like step by step, like what has to get done in order to get this accomplished. Do
Mhm.
you need a music editor? Do you need a video editor? Do you need someone choosing photos? Do you need, somebody, a musician? Do you need a viral marketer? All the different pieces that
That's
you need.
I'm up to that place. The getting it on social media for this message, and being able to track and just uh, they have a thing called I'm not sure what it is, where you have one listing for all the different social media, and you post it on that one, and it automatically goes to that. Is that a skill that you have, or do I need to also look for a different kind of uh, programmer, web person?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with that particular task that you just talked about in terms of the posting once to the social media and
Right,
then distributing,
right.
that's not something that a system that I've worked with, and it's
Okay,
not one that I personally am going to pick up the skills for. And
okay,
this helps you understand exactly how what we're doing is going to work. What
okay,
we're going to do is we're going to talk it all out. So we're going to get to that part, and you're going
okay,
to describe your vision of what you need accomplished.
okay,
And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that clip of that role, that one individual role, and then we're going to add it like to the list of all the different roles that you need fulfilled, and then what you are able to offer in exchange for somebody showing up in that role. You're going
hmm,
to be able to offer them, being credited in the production, or you're going to be able to offer them, visibility within the video or on your website, or talk about the different, values you potentially have to exchange, other than, of course, money is always out there, but also connections, relationship
right,
capital, your
right,
time and energy. There's all kind. So, as we outline it all and we outline all of the roles, now, like you said, you're going to either need to find somebody for that role, or you could also potentially incentivize somebody else to find that role. So let's, again, I don't know your situation yet, we're going to talk about it next time, but let's just imagine that you were in a position, back in the day, where you're paying each person to do whatever, role you have. Then you, again, within this collective commerce model, you're offering people the commission percentage to connect you with
hmm,
who you're looking for, because there's always a connector in the middle, like we talked about, right? So there's always somebody earning 8% commission. And that's
hmm,
essentially what we're going to do if you're able to offer the money. If you're not able to offer the money, then we'll have to look at what the alternative offer is going to be to
hmm,
incentivize somebody. But the idea, as you can see from the way the system works, is that you declare what it is that you need. Not only are you looking, but your whole network is essentially looking for you,
right,
because they're incentivized to support you. When they can match you with
right,
what you're looking for, then you're going to get what you want. The person they're matching you with
right,
is going to get what they want, and they're going to earn a commission. So again,
right.
we're going to practice this model. And at times, again, we'll talk about how much financiers are involved or what other currencies you have to offer. But basically, it's going to be this kind of model of, you're putting it out there. This is the need I need fulfilled. You're going to get to be a part of this whole collective group and meet these people, and we're going to be
Hmm,
featured on this, and we're going to go for that. You know what I'm saying? And then that's what has, somebody like Randy, who may not need, a commission from you, but wants to support you in seeing this project through. I'm going to find this, person for, hey, he can say, hey, Lanny, I know this guy. That's kind of what it comes down to, right? Because if people know people, they're going to connect you, right? And
right.
then it's a conversation about how can we create a value exchange that's a win-win for both of us.
Got
And
it.
that's where, in this system, I'll just explain this part really quick, because I think it's really makes sense for you, especially in the resource economy that you're talking about. Is it becomes a limited equation when you are looking for somebody, let's say, that can provide the social media posting, okay, and you've got like this catalog of skills and expertise that you can offer along the lines of music production and video production and whatever else you could potentially offer, right? But if they don't need any of what you have to offer, then you can't make a direct connect there and exchange value necessarily, right? But if you have a third party, like let's say Randy or somebody else, where Randy could use what you got to offer and this other person can use what Randy has to offer, now
Mm.
everybody can get what they need in the
Right,
equation, right?
right,
So the system can automatically add third parties, fourth parties, fifth parties, as many parties as need to
right.
be added to be able to get the chain to work in order for it to get executed. You see
Wow,
that?
wow. And
So that's where
that's all
it,
done. You designed that.
what I just described, portions of what I described are functional right now, not the matching of, through all of the generations. But
Mhm.
frankly, that programming is not nearly as technical or difficult as what I've already programmed. And this is the thing, all of what I'm describing is not technical, difficult programming for people that are very skilled, and especially organizations that are very skilled. And this is where, again, it's going to be more of like having the entire university system of the United States take on the development of this project. Like
Right.
that's that's the type of scale that we're going to work on to execute like this whole thing. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like massive entities in the world taking on their part to empower this at the highest level. You get it?
Wow. What tell me again, what city are you in or close
Uh,
to?
I'm in Fort Myers right now.
Fort Myers.
You know where that is? That's like halfway
Oh
between
yeah.
Maple.
Yeah,
It's like
I know where it is. Uh, there's a university there, Florida. Um, there's a it's. I've been there. I did a concert there.
nice.
At it's it's in Fort Myers, or
I've actually been there. I forget the name of it as well. I dropped my friend off at a concert there, so I know what you're talking about.
but it seems to me that 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 universities would be interested in getting involved in your concept in order to help design more explore the systems, study it, explore it, and participate.
Exactly. Exactly.
Florida Gulf
That's
Coast, Florida Gulf Coast University.
there you
Uh,
go. There you go.
uh,
Right.
um, and um, and you're ready to take to move that forward. So
Yeah,
sounds like it.
you're right. There's just a little bit more of um, a financial foundation building right now, just
Hmm.
so I'm not in the same position I'm in at the moment. I can get past this moment and start to be able to eat when I want to eat and other things that, are pretty
Right.
fundamental. But
Where are you staying right now? Where's
I'm
that
staying,
window?
yeah. It's beautiful, isn't it? I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed that I'm staying with a friend of mine who I've been friends with since middle school. And there have been times over the years, including right now, that he's been very gracious in offering me this spare bedroom he has in his house.
Nice.
So, so I've been able to, stay with him now as I've done at times in the past. That's, yeah, a real lifesaver at this moment.
Wow.
Just to share with you, um, the reality for me is that I've been home insecure pretty recently, even to the
Mhm.
point where I did have my first experience. I've been home insecure at times in the past, but somehow always managed to have a roof over my head every night up until about 3 weeks ago was the first time that I had one night where I did not have a place to go home to. Fortunately, I was near some friends on Miami Beach that they were able to keep my stuff for me overnight, including my computer, because that was like my main thing is like
Right.
I can't be like out in the elements with my computer. But I was very happy actually that night to walk on Miami Beach because I used to live on Miami Beach and I loved walking on the beach in the middle of the night. I still love that. I walk these days, I walk on the golf course near here actually. And most nights, literally, I'm literally walking between 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning on the golf course all alone. And
Quiet. Yeah.
it's quiet, it's peaceful. I'm connecting with the infinite sea of possibilities. I'm going to the 0 point and really allowing, the universe to speak through me at that point. And that's the way I do it. And so I used to do it on the beach and I was excited. So I didn't really look at it as like a night being unhoused, more as just a night I was walking on the beach, which I ended up doing. So, it didn't have like a negative charge for me, but it was, a breakthrough in a sense that, I didn't have a home to go home to. I have that at the moment, thankfully.
Mhm.
So now is the time, as I shared with you, I've been on this journey where I've been programming all of this and developing all of this for years now. And now is the time I'm coming back to the world to find the people like Randy and you and others that resonate with the energy of this for each of us to choose to
Mhm.
join this collective and start, referring in the other people that want to be a part of the collective and start
Mhm.
practicing this collective commerce together so that we
Mhm.
can start supporting each other. It's kind of, I think, a good way of looking at it and kind of describing it to people is it's kind of like a chamber of commerce where the entry fee to the Chamber of Commerce is to agree to live by the golden rule. And if
Right.
you agree to that, then now you're all of a sudden in the midst of this membership organization of all
Right.
these other people that have agreed to the same thing. And now you can find what you're looking for, knowing that they're going to treat you right and you're going to treat them right. And in us doing this, we're building a collective commerce alternative for humanity, and that's going to start to develop the collective commerce system. Basically, we're building a whole alternate societal construct, starting with what I just described, that's
Mhm.
essentially over time going to have everyone moving from our current system over into this new fancy system that allows us to live sustainably and in harmony with our environment indefinitely. It's like at some point, people are going to be rushing over to the lifeboat that we found for ourselves and just
Mhm.
abandoning the sinking ship and all being a part of this lifeboat that's going to sail us into the future that allows us to live in harmony with our planet. So
That's
really the
that's beautiful.
that's really the end game, and I'm just rushing to be able to see it happen in my lifetime. That's the game for me, is that I just would love the satisfaction of seeing, what I've been working on all of this time actually work and accomplish what my life's mission is, which is to help us successfully transition from where we are to sustainability. And if I can live long enough to see the day, that's just an extra bonus. But even just getting it all set up and seeing us heading in that direction,
Right.
is satisfaction enough to know I've done my job, in this
Right.
lifetime.
Wow. That's great, Jared. So when's our next meeting?
I think what's going to be best is let's take a little bit of time so that you can be at your own pace and not feel rushed to go through some of these videos. And we'll be in
Okay.
communication back and forth along the way with like questions and clarifications. I'm actually going to give you some feedback documents associated with the videos so that as you're watching the videos, if you have questions, you can write it down in the documents. You can give
Mhm.
me any feedback. Does that work for you so that you can kind of get educated on all of these
Yeah,
details? And
just let me know when it's back up, because I'm going to send you this money, and
yeah,
just you know
I
let me
will.
know
I'll
when
send
it's
you,
back
it'll,
up.
yeah, it'll be very shortly. And I'm going to send you the playlist, the YouTube playlist anyhow. So you're going to be able to see everything on the site, but I'm going to send you the playlist so you've got the direct videos to go to.
Oh, okay, that's cool. And well, that's great. Well, um,
And then I would anticipate, just to give you a time frame, I think, again, if you can go through the videos, and it's up to you. You tell me what your time frame is to want to move forward, so I can kind of try to match you and mirror you with your expectations of what you want to get done and when, by when.
um, well, um, this thing's only been up for a couple of days, and I want to, networking it out. The the I don't I can't decide whether the debate last night hinders or helps this particular cause, because it's not defined by a particular candidate. It's talking to all the voters who are Republican and Democrat and independents. Um,
Yeah, no, I think that now is a good moment because now people are talking about the debate. So I hadn't really thought about it, but I think now is a very timely moment. If I were you, excuse me, I would be posting that video everywhere on Facebook that I can, all different kinds of, groups. And do you have like a list of groups to post it in already?
um, uh, kind of. Well, I had to start my Facebook again, but I've got
When just to clarify that, are you not able to recover an old Facebook page?
um, it had a lot of groups on it, and I wasn't able to recover it. So I
Can you can you hold on a second? Because I want to talk to you about it, but I don't know if we're getting into information you don't want to share. So hold on a second while I pause the video. Oh, let me just do this. Okay, so please continue with what you're saying.
okay. So I originally had started to focus in on the swing state Senate races. And I created the Love is Around video with a couple of shots of the candidate and their family, and the Love is Around message. Uh, uh, and uh, then I decided to, I got done Arizona, Arizona, Montana, um, um, let's see, Arizona, Montana, um, Texas. Uh,
It's really great as you're saying that because what I'm thinking, Lanny, and I don't know if you were already doing this, but that's exactly the type of automation that we want to use artificial intelligence for. you
yes,
know, and you are doing it manually where you're switching out the different images and everything yourself. And as if if artificial intelligence isn't already there, we want to teach it to say, here's the template, and
right,
then in every template, switch out, image A with this image and switch out image B with this image. You get what I'm saying? And to
yes.
make it all very
But
systematic.
I had to decide on the images I wanted to use.
Of
Um,
course.
but the
Yeah, but what
core
I'm saying
is
is
like
that
in
I
Florida, Debbie, I can never pronounce her name.
Wasserman Schultz.
No, no,
Wasserman Schultz.
the one who's running for Senate against Rick Scott,
Oh,
Debbie Muscarell Powell. Um,
okay.
I did one for her, and then I posted it on Facebook looking for teams of people within the states. Ohio is another one, um, to take on this project, to design a social media strategy and deliver it. So I didn't have to do everything. And, I'm trying, and then I decided, well, I mean, this was about a week ago. In my process, decided to do the national one with Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, which would downfeed to everybody, and not be so tied in with any of the particular candidates, although I want to support, um, uh, uh, by um, by identifying them within the scope of the song, within the video, because then I could be accused of, well, being, supporting just Democratic candidates. Um, and so I stopped that and I finished the other ones. And now I am, um, uh, like I said, I'm starting to put it out there with a note from me, which I'll send you. We're collecting organizations. The plan is now to connect with organizations that have large mailing lists, and will, because there's nothing being promoted. I'm not promoting my name or anything like that. It's
Well, I know that's where
anonymous.
you're at the moment, but I actually want to talk with you about other considerations, other options for that. Like in particular, creating specific branding around the video and then also allowing those organizations to basically co-brand, to essentially license the video from you where they can add their logo as an authorized distributor of the video. And then also for it to be actually a potential fundraiser for them where they can have others, authorize the use of the video and they're collecting a licensing fee, for like sub-licensing it and that sort of thing. So I want to at least talk with you about considering
Yeah,
alternative structures that allow it to propagate in a viral way that creates a win
yeah.
for you and creates a win for the others that are propagating it.
Well, I'm feeling that um, at this point, that by doing it with no credit given to anybody, um, name on the back or anything like that, that it could be done by, say Publix, for example. um, uh, Say I approach them and with all their stores, and the because it's saying to everybody, we can we be kind, and we're asking. The message is not political in terms of directly. It's calling upon the American people, the voters, to be kinder and to helping, caring, and sharing. Um, uh, is is to have say a video, or however they want to do it, from the president of Publix, to their workers, and distribute it, saying we agree that this is important enough in this season of separation and division, that we want to give it to you.
It's great that you're saying that because I saw I saw a program last night. I want to see if I can find it. Last thing I want to see. It's I hear what you're saying, and I'll just tell you, and I'll send it to you later. But what was on the CBS Evening News last night
Mhm.
was a segment about the brands that are capitalizing on people's tiredness with the division.
Mhm.
And so the brands are using languaging in their television ads,
Mhm.
how we're all coming together around this. And so
Ooh.
exactly. So they're basically the brands that are already doing in public advertising exactly what you're describing.
Is there is did they give a any kind of connector site, or they just mentioned a few of the brands
They
that
just
were
showed
already
three.
there?
They showed three of the brands. I'm going to send you the story
Oh,
because
thank you.
either it's on YouTube and I'll find it on YouTube and send it to you, or I'm going to record it off of the TV on my phone and send it to you.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Because
but it was
that's perfect. But to not have their name on it except for sending it to their people with a message from their own leadership about coming together and whatever the message is in the
so I want to
video.
understand when you're saying if Publix is sending it to their employees, they're not putting Publix branding on it when they're doing that. Is that what you're saying?
No, no,
They're just
they
sending the generic version.
yes, they're
I
sending a version without any. The only thing is that the company's in that the president's endorsing it of the company, because they want their people to understand that we're not enemies. So it's delivering the message, but not to have. I mean, in that way, they're branding it because they're saying we're participating in this, and we need to get it out to all of the employees, because we want to share. We're going to ask you to also send it to your friends and family, but you know, but not because the branding could be. I mean, instead of Publix presenting this, or Hebe or Boeing or whatever, um, each can do it individually among their people, but there's no branding within the scope of the video.
are
That's my idea.
are you putting a copyright notice in it?
No, not even. I'm giving it away because
Okay, that I
it's too
I'll just
important. But
yeah, I'll just
the
share.
song is copyrighted anyway. You know.
Well, I'll share the concern that comes up for me. I don't know how you overcome this or if you already have,
Mhm.
but when you're not protecting the derivative works of it, then that means that all of these brands that are sending it to their people in its original form, like you talked about, are
Mhm.
exposing themselves to the possibility that some entity could bastardize it in whatever way they want, put it out publicly because you're not protecting it legally or its derivative works legally, and now all of these reputable brands that have put it out are now being potentially associated or have their brand associated with this terrible news story because they used the original version, but now there's, you get what I'm saying? It's like it goes out into the wild and it doesn't get to propagate necessarily the way that you want it to, because you don't have the guardrails to keep it in any kind of lane that you're imagining. You get what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, the song is copyrighted. The video, and I'm using photographs that I don't own, that I got from.
Are those public?
For the
Um,
most part, yeah. For the most part, uh,
but you have to use uh, images that are in the public domain that are or that have licenses for free public use. And I spent some time going down that road in the past, so I can give you some guidance on that, and I can send you some resources where you can go to sites that are filled with images that you can use, but you have to have the ability to use the image in the video, or you can have a cease and desist order, ordered against you.
Well, I don't know who's going to cease and desist this message. I mean, it
No, but
seems,
it's
and
not
if
the
there's not
message.
money being made off of
It,
this,
yeah, but copyright holders of images, especially if they're images that they get paid for and are up on a site like
right,
a
right,
a photo stock photo site, and they're getting paid for those images, and
right,
you're using them without paying them,
right.
then it doesn't matter what the message is. They're going to enforce their ownership against, unauthorized use.
Change the picture, and
I was going to say, you just need to make sure that you're using the
yeah,
images that, but you have to do that before you distribute. You can't expect the publics to be using a video that contains unauthorized, unlicensed images.
mm,
It would never get past their legal department. Do
mm-hmm,
you get what I'm saying?
mm-hmm. Okay, well,
I'm
good, a good
I
point.
could be wrong. I don't want to say never. I don't want to say absolutes, but I'm just sharing with you, my expectation of, this type of issue. It
Right.
the copyright and usage rights of images are a big deal to the image holders, and there's a big whole industry around. So you
Mm-hmm.
just have to have kind of documented where every image comes from. I'll show you, because I made a video filled with all like 50, like public domain images, and then
Mm-hmm.
I cited where all of them came from, so I had all like the paperwork trail of the whole thing,
Right.
so you can just get a sense of what it would potentially look like to do something like that.
Right. Right.
But there's a lot of images that are out there that are like, you don't even have to document where they came from. It's free use, whatever.
Right. Right.
There's a whole,
Pixels and forget what the other one's called,
yeah,
which I used a lot of. But there are some graphics like the initial one with the donkey and the
the elephant.
elephant, kind of mad at each other with split. I found that on the web. I think it was from a newspaper, or magazine, The Atlantic, or something like that. And I thought it was a great image for it. And it's like once it's out there, it's kind of hard to stop.
Okay.
You can cease and desist kind of, if that's what you want to do with that particular message, or I can work it out with the people who are there, and who are, or I can change it. But I decided that I can't let that stop the process of the creation of something that's really important to say, and then let them, if they find it or that whatever, get back to me and say, hey, you're using my image, and work it out.
Okay. I hear you. Is well, we'll talk more about it next time, but my main question, I think, is going to be, who are your target markets for, like, that you want to get it distributed out to. But this is the type of like communication we'll do offline. What is best for you? Email, text, WhatsApp? Like, what are the apps that you like to use to communicate in real time?
Right,
Which
right.
ones?
Oh, right now I'm just using Facebook at the moment because I'm just starting to do, but WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok. I'm sure there are more social media uh, places that that an influencer knows about. And
Sure.
I want
So
to.
just to be clear, you currently don't have an Instagram account or a TikTok account or a Twitter
No,
account.
I do have a TikTok account, but I don't want it to come back like Facebook. YouTube, you're clicking on a link that shows
Excuse me.
shows shows my it's connected to my page,
Right.
and I'd like to not do that. I'd like to have it go out, and have it in a page that's just, they go, who is this? Who's this thinking? Who wrote the message? And if they want to find me, they can find me. They'll be able to find me, I think, or not. But
Well, are you going? That's a good point that you're bringing up. Is are you going to create a new YouTube account just to post it like semi-anonymously?
yeah, I do want to create that. And that's another piece of the puzzle, that somebody who is skilled at those things, a web person who, that's not your expertise, and but somebody who's got that expertise uh, can do it's
What,
post
which expertise are you talking about?
um, uh, design designing, and implicating, no, that's the wrong word, um, implementing. I got stuff that's missing. Implementing uh, 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 a strategy to connect, to do the web, to do the social media sites, take that on, and get it out there, in a big way. Talk to me through that, and um, uh, and um, and have and so that it can go, but not link back to me.
Okay. Are you open to fundraising? Do you still have a 501(c)(3), by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you're open to fundraising through this effort, right? And having people support the expansion of this, people and businesses.
um it's a gift. And as far as this project is concerned, I want it to
Okay.
remain a gift that I'm not even fundraising off of.
Okay. Do you have
You know,
other things that you're able to fundraise off of right now?
yeah, the website, my main website, earthman.tv,
I'm, but I'm, but
pe-
I mean
people
secure
make
funding.
donations.
Like one of the things that we're going to talk about, I'm going to send you the video and we're going to talk about is creating a positive feedback loop between
Mhm,
us.
mhm,
So, because I'm supporting Randy as he's asked me to, and supporting you, and I want to support you, and I want to support you guys. I'm bringing my time to the table
right,
along with technical skills and a platform and all of the things that I'm bringing as a starting point to create a positive feedback loop between us. So the
mhm,
intention is that all I'm providing is going to create enough value for you that you're able to create value for yourself in the world, like
mhm,
through fundraising in one way or another,
mhm,
that then you're able to close the loop and providing,
right,
value back. It doesn't have to
right,
be fundraising, it could be connections, it could be other currency that you have. But the point is that we want to find a loop so that
right,
as I'm providing to you and then you're providing back to me, I can provide more to you and you can provide more
right,
back to me. And we're creating a
right,
loop that goes up. If we don't create the loop, then it's only me providing as much as I can until I run out of what I can provide, and then
Right.
we're not able to go any further, right?
Right.
And we don't want to get to an end point. We want to be in a loop where I'm
Right.
able to provide more because we've got the loop going.
Right.
So we're just going to have to really focus on what it is that's going to form our loop. What value am I providing to you that you're able to turn into value that you can,
Right.
fundraise off of, or somehow turn back into, could be referrals to import, to other people that are providing,
Mhm.
paid work, or there's all kinds of different ways we can work
Right.
with it. But it's just somehow getting a positive feedback loop going so we can both keep looping up and keep doing more together.
Right. No, I understand and I agree. I agree.
Okay.
And on this particular project, my intention is to keep it as clean as possible,
Yeah.
for for so that you know it doesn't appear that anybody is, it's just the message itself
Right.
which has the value that needs to go on out there. I mean, even the corporates, I'm not going to ask for any money. I mean, I'm giving them a tool to use to help, take the pressure off of this society and the division.
Yeah, I think that's great, and I'm glad that you're doing it that way. And personally, and you can ponder it, and maybe you already have, I don't think there's any harm in saying, and if you'd like to pay it forward so we can do more of this, then please
Mhm.
fund the organization.
Right,
No cost to do this, not charging you, but others have paid it forward to get us to this point. And if
right,
you'd like to pay it forward for us
right,
to create the next project,
right,
here we are.
right.
Here, here's the PayPal link.
I agree, or make the donation to, the not for profit organization, and keep supporting the work, without it being necessary for them to distribute the value of this message to their employees,
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
as a gift in itself.
Exactly. Make it non-transactional. This is a gift. There's no cost, there's no expectation associated with it.
Yeah,
And, the organization that we are is an organization that does this type of thing. And we're
right,
always, here are the various ways to support our organization on an
right,
ongoing basis.
right, right. That's the deal.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, great.
A quick story, and then we'll go.
Sure.
Um, in 1974, I met the then governor from Georgia at a Young Democrats meeting.
Okay.
And I listened to him speak about trust and about finding the good with it. The things that we're thing. They live by the golden rule. And his name was Jimmy Carter.
I realize that. Yeah.
And I, volunteered some time. And when I was in Miami, back from school during the summer, um, he would fly into Miami to go to, home parties, with 30 people in the backyard, a couple of them, and then fly back out. And I would pick him up at the airport with my Datsun B210, and I would drive him around. And so we had a chance to really get to know each other and have conversations. And I asked him once, I said, Governor, I said, how do you expect to be elected president with 30 people in a backyard? And he said to me something that has carried me through all my days as an activist. He said, if you speak the truth, which we're speaking the truth, and the time is right, anything is possible. And I was at election night in Atlanta, um, when he won. And then I was at a party at the White House for all the workers. I ended up on the national staff, starting with running the second congressional district, which was a heavy George Wallace district, North Florida. Um, and um, and then I went to a bunch of states: Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, working on the campaign.
Nice.
But I always remember that what he's told me, and the time is right, and we speak the truth. So
I
you
love it.
know, yeah, it's a
That's
great thing.
great. It's perfect.
So we going to um, we're not going to schedule something,
Well,
but
that
what?
was why I wanted to get a sense of your time frame. Do you like, if you had to say like I'd like to reschedule, I'd like to have our next meeting on this date, what date are you imagining for our next meeting?
Okay, knowing what I know and needing to you to get the website back up and
The
um,
website will be up within minutes after you send the funds, so
okay,
it's not going to take any time.
then
Well, there
the,
could be some propagation time and maybe some hours before you see it. It just kind of
yeah,
depends. It's an
uh,
unknown.
um, just send me a text that says it's up, and I'd say, let's see, I have, okay, I'd say Wednesday. By then
Sounds good.
I should be able to look at it. Let me just check my thing, make sure I don't have any doctor's appointments or uh, brain appointments. Uh, uh, Wednesday. So I'm gonna just schedule you in there, and it can happen or it can not happen depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
What time do you want to set up for? Is it the same time?
well, I think this time works good.
Okay.
Uh, 10 a.m.
Okay.
I mean, is that good for you?
Yeah, I don't, it's kind of a long shot, but I may be in South Florida for the fourth. So in that case, the
Okay.
third may not work, but at the moment, let's schedule it because the moment it'll work.
Okay. Yeah, because yeah, July 1st. Yeah, through the 4th. Right. I forgot that it was going to be the 4th. So just let me know. I mean,
No, it's the third that you're saying. When you
yeah,
say
I'm
the,
saying the 3rd, but it's the July 4th,
right,
week of activities.
right,
So,
right.
I'm
Well, yeah,
just
I'll
putting
let you
it
know in
down
advance.
and
I'll know whether I'm going to be traveling or not.
yeah, and
We'll
so
plan for it.
okay,
I've got you locked in right now at 11 my time on the
right,
third.
and just we'll use your same Zoom thing, and
Yeah,
okay,
let me pause the recording for just a moment. Yeah, we are brothers in arms. The you mentioned the peaceful arms. I like the peaceful warrior avatar. You know,
yeah,
we are the peaceful warriors,
yeah.
um, and we're
Dan
doing it
Millman, the way of the peaceful warrior.
exactly. That was definitely a guiding book for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
me,
awesome. Cool,
me
brother.
too.
Anything else you want to share before we wrap up here?
No, except good Shabbos
And to
and
you as
and
well.
and peace be with you.
It thundered just as you said that, so that's pretty awesome. Peace be with
Yeah,
you as well. I'm super grateful, Lanny, for all that you're doing and our connection and our ability to be able to, synergize our energies with Randy and others to be able to, you know, start gathering this collective. I don't know, if you're seeing it this way yet, but oftentimes I think of the work that we're doing in terms of like the founding fathers of the United States. It wasn't that many founding fathers that needed to come together in order to
Yeah.
create, the infrastructure, the environment, the container to be able to contain the United States. And in many senses, that's what we're doing, is we're creating a real, collective container that allows the collective to show up inside of and be a collective together. And it's not going to take that many of us to do it, to be able to create the environment for everyone to do that with us.
Amen. Amen. So have a
Awesome.
great day, and
You
I will
too.
get this to you immediately.
Perfect. I
Uh,
appreciate you, brother. Great to be
all
with
right,
you.
man.
Have a great weekend. I will see you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye bye.